welcome to this episode of Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr., part of Hank Jr. Productions, where I'm documenting life's moments through photography, videography, and now podcasting. And tonight on Hank's Corner, I definitely have a very special guest on. You may know her from The Voice Season 6, where she had all four chairs turned. Please welcome singer, songwriter, Audra McLaughlin. Audra, how are you doing
Hey,
tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me, Hank. I appreciate it. It's been
Uh,
a long time coming. I know we met in Florida and then we've been trying to get to interview for a while, so I'm happy that we're finally able to.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the first things I always like to ask is where are you actually calling in from today?
So I'm in Nashville, Tennessee right now at my house.
Okay. So Nashville is your home now. How long have you been in Nashville?
So I've been in Nashville now about 5 years. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
of course, yeah, crazy. I know it flies by. So I mean, now, granted, I say 5 years living here, which is the truth, but I've been coming here for probably close to about 10 to 12 years prior to that. So it's always been Nashville's always been kind of my second home. I mean, of course, your first home is always your home. You know what I mean? But as far as like the music stuff goes, it's like I love, the creativity that goes along with being in Nashville.
Oh, definitely. But you're really from my old stomping grounds, my high school and college days of the Philadelphia area. My understanding is your town is just right outside the airport, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But tell me about your Philly days back there.
Oh gosh, yeah. So I grew up right outside of Philadelphia, which is it's a small town called Delaware County, and I grew up in a little town called Glenold in Pennsylvania, where my parents and my family still, all of my family kind of still resides in the Delaware County area. Most of them do, at least. And I think my favorite parts, of course, is just like building I mean, of course, I started singing when I was young, so I kind of started, doing a lot of the clubs in the area. And I started taking vocal lessons with a local lady, and she kind of started me out at like a really young age when I was like 8 or 9. And so I did a ton of like shows in churches and just different stuff like that. And growing up was pretty simple. I mean, I'm very close with my parents, and I'm super close with all of my family members. And so, a lot of it was just surrounded around a lot of love and a lot of music, of course. That was, most of my life was always music and spending time with my family and my friends, and just kind of playing in all the local bars in my area and local churches, and singing with my grandpop. And my grandpop is a big part of why I got into music at such a young age. Is he was a singer and he played piano by ear, which it was crazy. And so I did come from a very musical family as well, which kind of got me into music. To both of my uncles are incredible singers, and they still do it for fun. My one uncle does a Elvis impersonation, which is fantastic. He's awesome.
Well,
Um,
my dad would definitely love that.
oh, I bet. Yeah. I mean, he does a great job. And but my great grandfather, my dad's grandfather, played guitar and sang and wrote songs. And I actually have his guitar here with me in Nashville. That's almost like 70, 80 years old. I don't even know. It's pretty old, but it's kind of cool. And both my mom's a great singer, but she just was always a little too shy. And so but yeah, music it was always a big part of our family parties and our life. And I've always been, I've always went to music events and to concerts, um and just playing around the area and just kind of getting my stage presence sort of, ready, I guess, for different things. And so I was very thankful for that back in my hometown, getting to do a lot of that stuff. So yeah, there's so much. I mean, it's hard to even think back that far, because I mean, I don't know. But yeah, football was a big thing, of course, sports. I was able to sing the national anthem a few times after I got off after the Voice. And so that was like a dream come true for me and my dad, and my mom, of course, too. But me and my dad, I grew up just watching the Eagles game with him every Sunday. And so I definitely do miss that about being here in Nashville, is that I don't get to watch all the games with him anymore. Now I'll FaceTime them, like, while the games are on, and I'll like put my phone up and we'll just talk football and stuff, and it's a lot of fun. And but I definitely value the time when I do get to go home and visit. And which, speaking of, I get to go home for a few days coming up here soon, this weekend, to see them. So I'm excited to see them. It's been like 3 months. So
Oh,
um,
wow, that's great. So, yeah,
yeah,
and I did wear the Eagles shirt specifically because I knew you were coming on the show today, and,
I love it. Thank
I
you.
I'm a big Eagles fan, and unfortunately, being down here in Tampa, I got the unfortunate thing to watch them lose in the playoffs down here. And when I say lose, those who watched it, like, they know the Eagles didn't even show up that day. So I had great seats right there by the end zone, only to see them lose. So that was
Oh, no, that's the worst. I hate. Man, I know. I'm so passionate about football, especially. Man, I love all sports. I was kind of like a tomboy growing up, sort of like I was sort of in between the girly girl and the tomboy. But like when I was really young, I was mostly like the girl that was playing touch football with the guys, and kickball and softball and basketball and swimming and track. And I think I tried every sport in my life, but I was never really good at any of them besides maybe swimming. Well, I guess I could say swimming was probably like the only sport I was ever really like decent at. But I was like in the school choir, and in the after school choir, and all the things that people consider nerdy. But that was just what I was into. I was into music, and again, sports too. Football was just a huge, always a huge part of all of our, like, me and my dad, our bond and stuff. And so, you know yeah, it's we're big time football fans, that's for sure.
That's awesome to hear. And so, we did get to see you come down to Florida, you and Taylor and Jennifer from Diamonds and Whiskey, and that was great to do that. But since that time, I mean, there's been a lot happening. I mean, I'm just watching you on social media. There you are hanging out with people from the Karate Kid, and going to Garth Brooks concerts, and even more so, you've kind of teamed up with Brandon Morrell at the Backstage Pass, where I sponsor their podcast, and now
Yeah.
he's your booking manager. And so that's got to be awesome. So good for that. But even with all that going on, you had time to release a new single, Beautiful Pain. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I wrote that with a good friend and co-writer of mine, a guy by the name Pete Salas. And when I tell you, I mean, he's just one of my favorite people to write with. He's an incredible person, and him and I just have this great, I don't know. We just really mesh together as co-writers, and he's just a phenomenal musician. I mean, he plays probably every instrument that you could even think of, and I'm just like, oh, I'm like, how does people do that? But my I sent that after I wrote that with Pete. We kind of knew it was special. It was our first co-write together, which was kind of funny because sometimes it just goes that way. You just write a song and you're like, whoa, like I think this is a really special one. And but I kind of him and I just sat down, and he said, well, what is it that you're missing that you want to write about? And I said, I don't know. I mean, we just kind of started talking and chatting and everything like that. And somehow he just started playing this piano thing, and it just kind of sounded like almost like an Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston kind of cool vibe. And of course, growing up outside of Philly area, I grew up with a lot of R&B and soul and blues, and just a mixture of music, honestly, pop music and all that stuff. And so, um, I don't know how we even came up with the title, but I feel like I said something like, wow, that's, this could be about this. And he said, well, what about Beautiful Pain? And I was like, oh my gosh, I like that title. So anyway, we kind of finished that one within like probably an hour or two. I don't even know. It
Wow.
was it was pretty quick. But I was really excited after I heard the demo of that. And so I sent it to my producers, Jimmy Mattingly and Johnny Garcia, and they also freaked out about it and just loved it. And they were like, we have to cut this. We got to put this out. This has got to be your next single. And I was like, hey, yeah, I'm for that, and so that's what happened. And so they really got behind that one, and of course produced it, got all the incredible musicians that played on it, and Robert Balley to do background vocals. And yeah, we're just super proud of that song, all of us. And just super, super, proud of that one. And it's been getting a lot of great feedback from people out at writers rounds and shows and stuff like that. So yeah, we're hoping that one can kind of take off. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely enjoying it. Let's go ahead and play Beautiful Pain here on Hank's Corner.
What was I supposed to do? Seeing you out with someone new. Hit me in the chest, stole my breath, used to be me with you. The way you're looking at her makes me remember what we were and what makes me mad. Can't go back, and what makes it worse? We're beautiful pain, like a rainbow after the storm. I shouldn't hang my head in shame. Oh, it's not fair in love and war. We lost, ended up. Beautiful pain. Oh. What we had was amazing. It was more than love we were making, but it all went wrong. Fire was gone, and we couldn't save it. We just became this beautiful pain, like a rainbow after the storm. I shouldn't hang my head in shame. Oh, it's not fair in love and war. We lost, ended up. Beautiful pain. Tell me the truth, can't help wonder if you feel the same. And I swallow my pride, keep those words deep inside. Walk away. Beautiful pain, like a rainbow after the storm. I shouldn't hang my head in shame. Oh, it's not fair in love and war. We lost, ended up. We lost, ended up. Beautiful pain. Oh.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. along with my special guest, Audra McLaughlin, and that was her latest single, Beautiful Pain. So tell me a little bit, you said, growing up in Philly, you participated in the choir and all that, but, how did you really get your musical start, and when did it happen?
Well, I kind of, I mean, I feel like I would sing a lot at just family parties and stuff. And so my family would be like, man, you need to like put her in some vocal lessons or something. And so my mom, like, I was in a daycare program after school, and this lady noticed that all I ever did was sing. Like I just was sing, sing, sing. And gosh, I think I was like in elementary school or even younger than that. I'm not even sure. But so my mom put me in vocal lessons with this lady, and so she started putting me in like recitals around town. I started doing like local competitions, like it was called Delco Idol was one of them, kind of like American Idol, but a local American Idol per se. And so I just started to like, I started off, like I said, small, like singing at recitals at churches and with my grandpa at nursing homes and things like that. And then started entering competitions and pretty much anything or any opportunity that I seen, you know, whether it was karaoke or a contest or like a radio contest, you know, that kind of thing. I would always kind of keep out, and my uncle, you know, would always kind of send me stuff too. He'd say, hey, you should, you know, do this. And then I think I was about 13 or 14 when I joined my first like all original rock band. So that was my first kind of like test to, I would say, like the road and the stage life, because, you know, up until that point, like I was doing all these competitions where I was just going out singing a song and then I was walking off stage, where, you know, it wasn't like a full show, like a 4 3 hour show where I'm performing and I'm having to talk to the crowd and to interact and put on a show. Where not that like in a competition, you don't have to do that as well. But when you're out here in clubs and you're performing with a band, you know, you have to become an entertainer. And so I really think I learned a lot of my entertainment skills early on when I was in those bands, whether it was my first rock band that I was in, which was called The Fallen. And we toured all over the Northeast. Like we did some stuff in New York and Jersey. And now I always tell people, because it's kind of funny, our agent at the time had to tell these clubs that I was 18, because I was only like a 14-year-old in high school and singing in a rock band and playing in all these nightclubs and stuff like that. And so, but really, I mean, that's how I really kind of started the grind as far as building up my entertainment and my performance skills, was through those. And of course, I mean, I was super shy and stuff and I had to break out of my mold, but yeah, I mean, now I just kind of have so much fun with it, because I got all that experience when I was younger, and just through the years, of course, you know, just through the years of performing and stuff. And then I was in cover bands and I was going to college and working jobs. And so I was doing so many things and just kind of getting my experience through all those bands and through acoustic shows and learning how to play guitar when I was in high school. And then when I got into that rock band, I started writing my own songs as well. And so, you know, it was kind of a building process. And, you know, I was in college and I was kind of like, you know, I was never really a school person, I'll be completely honest. Now, not that I never really liked school, I'll be honest. You know, I mean, I say like now, man, I wish I could have done this or that or, you know, been involved more, but all I wanted to do was play music. I didn't want anything to do with coming home and doing homework and studying and all that stuff. And I just did college for a little bit just to kind of, you know, I guess the backup plan, you know. But during that time while I was in college, I had started working with a music school in my area called Let There Be Rock School. And so my vocal coach at the time, we met through mutual friends. And so we started working together and she was just my vocal coach. And then she kind of moved into starting to like sort of manage me and help me out and everything and writing and all that stuff. And so I guess like the opportunity for season 6 of The Voice was coming up, and she had asked if that was something I'd be interested in trying out for. And of course I was, because I mean, my whole life I had dreamed to be on TV or something, you know, because I mean, growing up, I tried out for Star Search. Even when I was 9, I tried out for X Factor, America's Got Talent, American Idol, even shows that don't even exist anymore, you know, Nashville Stars and all these different shows that were around and stuff and still are. But I just kind of felt I was ready during season 6, because I had tried out for season 1 of The Voice, and I don't really think I was kind of ready at that point. You know, I was still kind of figuring out sort of my sound and sort of like the lane I wanted to go in musically and all that. And so I think by that by 2014, I knew, okay, I think I'm ready for like this kind of opportunity. And so what we did was we just worked on a bunch of songs, and we did a few audition tapes and we sent them in. And that's kind of where the voice thing came from. And once, I started moving further and further in the show, I then actually dropped out of college and I never went back. And so, of course, my mom probably would have liked me to finish, but she's proud of, all I've done at this point. And I'm glad that I made that decision, because it would have, might have never brought me to Nashville, so. It was really after The Voice. It was really after The Voice is when I started to really just dive into music just full time. I mean, now I was, of course, working different jobs, but, of course, when I moved to Nashville, I was working like 3 different jobs. But, now I'm in a place where I'm doing it full time. And so I never would have been in that place if I didn't take those chances. So, yeah.
Right. So here you are, blind audition on The Voice, and you're getting ready to sing Angel from Montgomery. Are you nervous at this point? What's going through your mind?
Oh man, yeah, I was so nervous, because I remember what normally happens is, you prepare for like a month, when you're doing these auditions and stuff. And so you finally get to that day, and they put you in kind of a holding room. And now I was picked to audition on day 1. There's 5 days of auditions. And each day you sit in this big conference room in the morning, and they say, okay, 25 of you are going on day 1, and then day 2, day 3, and so on. And so I was one of the artists that was selected to audition day 1, which is a good thing, because if you do get to day 4, sometimes the coaches' teams are filled up, and then you don't even get to audition. And that's sort of the, it's a crazy process. But anyway, I remember waiting all day in that holding room until like 8:00. And then they say, hey, you're going to actually go tomorrow now, because the coaches are tired. And I was like, oh, I got to do this all over again. So, of course, I was like anticipating all day. I'm like, I'm pacing, and I'm like getting ready, and I'm like, okay. And then they say, all right, well, we're going to do it tomorrow. And so finally tomorrow came, and I waited all day again. Finally, I did my audition at 8:00 at night. And I was so nervous. I remember the casting director coming to get me. She's like, are you ready? And I was like, I'm as ready as I can be, but I'm super nervous. She's like, no, you're going to crush it. She's like, you're going to kill it. And so I just kind of put myself in that like mode. I just blocked everything else. And I knew, okay, I know this song. I got this. And when the music plays, I'm just going to not look at the coaches or not look at anybody. And I kind of went into like a zone when I was up there. Like I always tell people, it's like I blacked out or something, because I was so nervous that I didn't even look at like when Adam first heard, because I was like, oh no, I can't. I got to just focus on getting this song through with. And I got through it. But I look back at the audition now and I just laugh, because I was so nervous. And I just remember like I was laughing the whole time. I was like, oh, like all giggly and like, I don't know, but it was pretty crazy. But oh yeah, I was shaking in my boots. I'll say that.
Oh, I bet. So we do have a clip of you singing that blind audition.
Him an old woman named after my mother. My whole pain is another child that's gone wrong.
Oh my God!
He dreams with thunder, and lightning was desire. His old house would have burned down a long time ago. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster, yeah, growing old rodeo. Just give me one thing, yeah, that I can hold on to. To believe in this living is just a
Oh my God, Joan!
to believe in this living is just a hard way to go.
What are you doing?
Audra McLaughlin.
Okay, well,
You're the one we were waiting for.
Wait a second. I was first to turn, like by a long shot.
Who gives a crap about that?
Oh, that's important, because I saw what you guys failed to see.
Well, it's because you were turned around and you could see.
Yeah, but see, I was compelled to turn around by what I heard.
Oh,
And then when
see.
I saw what I was listening to, I was even more overjoyed, because you're beautiful.
Thank you.
You are a beautiful girl, but I really want the world to recognize you for the amazing, immaculate voice that you are.
Thank you so much.
Your voice is out of this world. It has raspiness, sweetness, it's got power. You're just missing one tiny little thing, missing me. Then I'm the missing link, you know?
I'm missing link.
Really, I feel that I can help you get to the top.
I don't see cowboy boots, which is fantastic news. The boots would have killed me, because I would have been like, oh, there's just no way.
There's still no way.
Oh, there is a way. Those are great shoes. Those give me hope.
Thank you.
My wife introduced me to that song.
He's gonna play the wife card.
Same old
Name
song and
dropping
dance
Hey.
with this guy.
You're damn right I'm gonna play the wife card and shut up. I used to watch her perform that song night after night, and so when you started singing it, I was holding you to Miranda's standard, you know? And when you hit the last note, you know those fireworks that go off and they spell stuff? It said Team Blake. It blew up, it said Team Blake, and it trickled down just behind you, and you looked angelic.
You got moonshine in there, man? What are you doing?
The thing about picking Blake is
Yes,
that you're not
I
only
do.
gonna have to worry about what he's thinking, but also about what he's drinking.
It's up to you now. Who do you pick as your coach?
Oh, man, this is a dream.
Audra!
Can someone please pinch me?
Dare to be different.
I'm gonna have to go with my gut on this. I pick Blake.
So yeah, Adam, he turns within basically like 5 seconds of singing, and then here comes Blake a little bit later, then Shakira, and then Usher at the very end when you hit that powerful note. But let's just say, I mean, and for those who don't know, I mean, you ended up picking Blake,
Mhm.
and why did you pick Blake?
Well, I'd always been I was a fan of all of the coaches on my season growing up, Shakira, Usher, Adam, Blake, but I just knew I wanted to go into the country music world at that point. And so obviously, there would have been really no one better to pick was Blake at that point. And so I just kind of knew going in it, if he had turned his chair, then I was going to pick him. And I honestly, I have no regrets about that, because I feel like he really helped me find now, not like, I feel like the songs that he kind of picked for me and that they agreed upon sort of molded sort of what I'm doing now, musically, which is kind of helped me figure out, okay, like this is like the lane I want to do. And so I just kind of knew going in that I just had this gut feeling that I just knew I wanted to work with Blake. And yeah, it was a great experience. I mean, he's an awesome person. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and everybody's always said, good things about him. Like, he is what he is in front of the cameras, when he's off camera.
That's what I tell people. It's like, I was so curious because I just knew he was so funny, and I had seen like 2 of his concerts, and he was just such a riot up there on stage. And I was like, man, he just seems so real and so down to earth. And me being such a young girl at the time, and like, not that I'm old or anything, but, I was, I was like 19, and so I was just super shy, and I was like, man, I feel like Blake would be like, just kind of easygoing, and I would feel kind of comfortable, which I did, and he was just, I was always shy because I was like, oh my gosh, just like Shelton, this is Usher, this is, any of these people I would have been so thankful to work with. But yeah, what you see is what you get with him. That's definitely for sure.
Yeah, and so I recently had Presley Tennant on the show, and she was on Kelly Clarkson's team, and she talked about how after everything happened that, she still got to go sing up on stage with Kelly on her birthday. Do you still keep in touch with Blake as well?
So I don't really get to see Blake all that much. I haven't in a few years. I mean, a lot of times after these shows, they're so busy, they're moving on from season to season. But you don't really keep in touch with them as much as people kind of think. Some of the newer coaches are a little bit better about that, but like people like Blake, I mean, he's just so busy. I mean, he's going from season to season to season, and so it's kind of impossible for coaches to really fully keep in touch with people after the show. But I'm sure I've run into him again, and he's just he's super down to earth. So
Yeah, that's understandable. But let's just say for whatever reason, Blake was out of the picture. Out of all the judges that have been on The Voice, would there been anybody else that would have been your second pick?
oh yeah, Kelly Clarkson for sure. I would have 100% wanted to. Yeah, yeah. I've been a fan of Kelly obviously since American Idol, and it was funny because when I was, I'm not sure what year it was when she posted it, but she had like tagged me, or not tagged me, but she found my version of The Climb, and she like tweeted about it and said, "Oh, if anybody can sing this song remotely like this girl or something." I just thought that was really cool she did that. And I think I tried to reach out to her, but I didn't hear anything back. But I was like, man, I'd love to work with Kelly one day. Just, even outside of TV or whatever, she just seems like, again, like she reminds me of like Blake, like very what you see is what you get. And so I just love people like that are just super cool and chill and down to earth and stuff. And so, yeah, for sure, Kelly. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So I'm gonna, change it up a little bit. So, before you even, got on The Voice, you had a song called "Breaking Through," and one of the things that I saw on your website, and I'm going to go ahead and quote, is that you struggled finding friends and just fitting in. That it took you longer to comprehend certain materials than other kids. You felt really alone in that part of your life, and that was something that kind of put you into the music and even songwriting. Tell us a little bit about that aspect of it, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, Breaking Through was a song, man, I think I wrote that when I was in like, I don't even know, maybe 8th or 9th grade or something like that. But yeah, I definitely I had my struggles in school. I wasn't like a student that grasped at any like materials so quickly. So I always kind of needed that extra help. And I had throughout my elementary and high school years, I had what you call an IEP. And so that's just kind of like you have extra help. You have an extra teacher that is in the room, who can kind of like, there's not so many students in the room basically. But yeah, I just always was not like a natural test taker. I would study super hard, but I just like, I had really bad ADHD, like a lot of kids. And I just kind of didn't fit in because I was like the music geek, I was like the music nerd. And I was shy. I was kind of like intimidated by everybody. I was just like, I don't know. I was like afraid of my own shadow back in that time period. And now it's like, I'm so different. I'm just like, I've learned from all that, and I'm like a spitfire sort of now. But back in that time, I was like this timid little kid, and I was just afraid. And, but, but music was my outlet. That was the biggest thing, is that's why I dove into my music. Like I would spend hours in my parents' basement, just playing songs and going through different genres and learning songs and doing like YouTube things. And I would just, my mom, you could ask her too, like I would spend hours and hours just in the basement learning material. And she was like, girl, come upstairs for some air, And so I just, it's not that I didn't try in school. I just wasn't naturally, not to say that I'm not intelligent by any means, because that doesn't mean that you're not intelligent if you struggle in school. That just means you learn differently. A lot of people, they put you in this box of like, oh, well, this or that, but it doesn't mean that. Everybody has their own talents and their own strengths and their own weaknesses. And that's where like, I was very appreciative to those, other teachers that took the time to take that extra time to help me and other students that learned differently. I couldn't keep up fast enough and that sort of thing. And so, and I was kind of embarrassed about it when I was younger, of course. And I was like, man, why can't I just be like everybody else? Why can't I be in the normal classes? And I tried. I did. It was at one point when I went into 9th grade into high school, I told my IEP, I said, listen, or my IEP teacher, I said, listen, I want to just go into all regular classes. And she said, I don't think that's a good idea, but this is your decision. Well, halfway into what we called, I think, semesters, like it wasn't college, but that's what they called it, I think, in our high school. I was failing terribly. And so I had to meet with my guidance counselors. I remember like I was hysterical because I'm like, why can't I just, understand this stuff like every other student? And they were like, Audra, not everybody learns quick. Not everybody can grasp things quick. So anyway, I went back into the other classes, at that semester point. And after that, I go, you know what? It is what it is. If I'm getting that extra time to learn, then, I'm thankful for that. So, but yeah, that'll set you apart. But honestly, I always tell people because, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with having, what they call a learning disability. I wouldn't really call it a learning disability. I'd call it like everybody learns just differently. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong with it.
Right. And the schools can't, teach to every single person's different abilities. And that's where unfortunately public schools fail. But, I do appreciate you being willing to talk about that because, you got kids that, watch shows like The Voice or, see you out there on social media and how well that you're doing, but they don't really see that, there was struggles back then. And they can kind of maybe relate to that. Like, and you said, well, maybe, this isn't the end of the world. Maybe, just do what I got to do and keep working hard. And one day, I'll be just as successful as you. And so, I appreciate you telling that backstory because I really think young people need to see, what really goes on.
Yeah. Well, I think, that like that saying, the underdog always, gets to the top. And I do think that's the truth because it might be a struggle at first. You might struggle in school or you might struggle with finding friends or whatever it might be that you struggle with, eventually, because you tried hard enough and you found something that you love, you work through it and you end up being the one back on the top. And so I try to give that advice to younger kids who say, well, how did you deal with this? Or how did you get through adversity and those sort of things. And, but it's yeah, you just got to find those different things that you can put your time and energy into that make you happy.
Right. And I'm going to go ahead and play another song. I'm going to play Put On Pink. And then when we come back, I want you to give me a little bit about that backstory.
Absolutely.
Feeling like I'm in a gray haze, getting tired of the same shade. Gotta get unstuck, put some color on my brush, paint myself a new day. Something brighter that lights my fire, takes me higher. When I wanna rock out, when I wanna step up, show the world what I'm made of. When I wanna make noise, be strong. When I wanna get my best self on, I only need one thing. I put on pink, put on pink, put on pink. I put on pink, put on pink, put on pink, yeah. Becky's dealing with some bad stuff. I took her out to show her some love. Got a mani and a pedi and now we're sitting pretty, beautiful and tough. You can beat this, just believe it. Can I get an amen? When I wanna rock out, when I wanna step up, show the world what I'm made of. When I wanna make noise, be strong. When I wanna get my best self on, I only need one thing. I put on pink, 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 yeah. Put on my pink lipstick, put
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. That was Put On Pink by Audra McLaughlin. And tell me a little bit about that backstory, where that song came from.
Yeah, Put On Pink was a super special song. I wrote that with I wrote that about 5 years. Was it 4 or 5 years? About 5 years ago. With a few of my co-writer friends here in town, and my one co-writer, Queenie, was actually like a 4-time breast cancer survivor, 3-time or 4-time, but man, she's just a strong woman. And so we were just going through kind of our concepts that day, and Nancy, our one co-writer, said, "I have this title called Put On Pink." And I was like, I love that. I was like, and I love Pink, like Pink the artist. And I said, that's really cool. I wonder if we can write like a breast cancer awareness song, because at the time, I had both of my aunts had breast cancer, and then Queenie had survived breast cancer, and so it was just super cool. Like, it was just super meaningful, and it means even more now because my mom is just getting over a lot of the breast cancer stuff. And that song means even more to me now. And it's just ironic that we wrote that inspired because of Queenie and my aunts. And then my mom, ended up having her own touch of breast cancer. And so that song has kind of carried on through the years, just because I've had so many different friends who've known people that have had breast cancer, and, and all that stuff. And so now, like, it's even more important to me these days because, my mom just finished her last chemo treatment. She starts radiation next week. And so she's always loved that song, but that's just such a special song to me. And we just wrote that for anybody trying to get through any kind of, tough time, whether it be cancer or whether it be anything really. But that's where our inspiration behind that song came from. So.
Right. And I've definitely been following the story, about your mother, and, we definitely wish her with that. And, that's why I kind of wanted to bring that up, is just because, not only are you out there rocking it, but you're also bringing awareness to these causes ever since you were a little kid, like I said, from breaking through all the way now to Put On Pink. And so, we definitely appreciate that. But let's liven it up a little bit. I want to go ahead and play a song by you, Can't Buy Fun Like This. And then when we come back, we'll finish it up.
Sounds good.
About the Joneses or high in mimosas, Botox and caviar. Don't do Louis Vuitton or Dom Perignon. Yeah, we just party on. I take a $10 Weber, natty on ice, box of red, can't get no better.
And so that was Can't Buy Fun Like This by Audra McLaughlin here on Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. And so talking about fun, what were some of the things that you used to do for fun back in the, the Philly area? Did you go down to the shore or, what were some of the things you used to do?
Absolutely. The shore, yes. So I grew up going to Wildwood, New Jersey with my parents. That was our favorite spot to go to, and it still is to this day. And I'm kind of like feel like a kid when I still go there because I love going on the roller coasters and to the boardwalk, and of course we still say down the shore. But man, my parents, like, we went to Disney World a lot when I was kids. Like a few times we would go to like Fort Lauderdale. But I think like the shore was definitely the main spot that we would go to like on our family vacations. And so, it's only like a 2.5 hour ride. And but yeah, I loved to swim growing up. I was always like very like an active kid. Like I always loved being outside. Like whether it was playing like kickball with my friends or I don't know, just any kind of sport, like sports outside. I was just always kind of like an outdoorsy person. And but yeah, I mean a lot of like I said, going to the shore and going to the beach and you know what else did we do for fun? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, well,
I'm
the
trying to
shore
think
is
of
definitely a great place. I mean, we got great beaches down here in Florida, but there's just something about the boardwalk that is a little bit different. And,
yeah.
It does bring back some nostalgia, about going to the summers down the shore. But let's talk about food a little bit. Did you have a favorite place for like a hoagie or cheesesteak up there?
Oh yeah. I mean, the place that we would always get there's a place called Leo's that's like right by where I'm from, and so we would always go to Leo's or of course the Jersey Shore has like the best pizza, like Sam's and Max and all those pizza places are like my favorite. Jersey, you can't beat like going to the boardwalk and getting a slice of pizza. That was like I would literally like sometimes my friends and I would literally like take day trips just to go down, walk the boardwalk, get a pizza, and come back.
That's how good it is, and I'll second that. And how about Nashville? I'm hoping to get back to Nashville again really soon. What are some of the hot spots that I should hit over there as far as food's concerned?
As far as food, now I've had to really dig deep for like Philly type foods, of course. So like now Nadine's is a place in Hermitage that's Philly owners. They have great food. They actually have a really good cheesesteak, and I try to cook as much as I can, but like I love like a lot of the Mexican places and sushi. I'm like a big sushi eater. I don't know if you like sushi or not.
I'll do the Mexican definitely, but I will not do the sushi.
I hear you. No, not everybody's into it. But yeah, I actually like my favorite. Like I've found kind of like my favorite pizza places that are sort of close to back home, which is like 5 Points. Pizza is pretty good. That's probably like Endosano's is like two of like the closest pizza places that I've found that I really like kind of enjoy. And then there's like if I want to get like say an oven grinder hoagie type thing, I go to like Penn Station, which is the closest, and Jersey Mike's. So like I've had to find my way to get my somewhat Philly taste here, but nothing's like going back home. And but food's great here. I mean, of course, like we have endless places with fried chicken and hot chicken and all that stuff. And, that doesn't always agree with my stomach. So, so I can't always eat the hot stuff, but, and with my voice too, of course. But we have so many like cool Italian places. I'll have to text you a few places that I'm terrible with names, but,
that sounds good.
I'm also super basic sometimes too. Like I'll just go to like Longhorn or Outback or something. Like you can always get a great steak. And but yeah, so there's so many places. But I'll think of a list for you and I'll send it over to you.
That'd be awesome. What type of music is going to be found on your playlist? I mean, that you're listening to maybe on a road trip or just when you have some time to yourself. Who are you listening to?
Gosh, I always tell everybody, like, I'm so ADD with music. I'll go 1 minute listening to like Led Zeppelin. The next minute I'll be listening to like YOLO or Mariah Carey or Christina or, a lot of the current artists that I like in country are like Ashley McBride. I was like on an Ashley McBride, like binger the other day, just listening to the same like 5 songs that I like, and then I'll go from like that to, you know, Morgan Wallen or I like a lot of like more pop kind of stuff, R&B and soul, and that's kind of the music I like to listen to on my free time is a lot of popular music. But also like I do a lot of times will go back in time to all of my favorite classic rock bands. And you know, I always tell people it's like, it depends what mood I'm in. You know, if I'm in kind of like a, hey, I'm going to the lake or something, I want to listen to like some country music to get me pumped up for that, you know, like some Billy Currington or Miranda or whoever's kind of, you know, put out a new record or something like that. But yeah, it's all depends. Like I'm just so I have so many playlists that are just like, my friends are like, whoa. But I like a lot of Texas country as well. Like I'm a big Poe Wetzel fan. And but you know, my music, like again, that I grew up with was like the big powerhouse vocals. Like I just loved like people like Aretha Franklin and Whitney and Mariah and Christina Aguilera and Kelly Clarkson and, you know, just all these artists. I'd gravitated like Martina McBride and Leanne Rimes and Leanne Womack and Faith Hill, like these vocalists that just had these big voices, Celine Dion. So I'm so ADD with music. It's like, it just depends.
I was going to say, so basically your playlist is very huge.
Well, you know, it's funny. Like I tell everybody, like I have a Led Zeppelin tattoo and I have a Mariah Carey tattoo. So that just goes to show you, I'm like from here to like here. I have like a little bit of rock and roll in me, which was the music I started in primarily, aside from now. The first country song I sang was when I was like 9 years old, which was I Hope You Dance by Leanne Womack. And but my parents were big time rockers. They were never into really like country music per se. Now they are because I'm in the business. But they didn't know really who, like, I don't know, probably like George Jones was or anybody back then. I mean, I started doing my research with older country as I got a little bit older, when I started getting into more of the country music. Because I just wanted to know, okay, well, where did country music come from? Who started, you know, back from like the Carters and Johnny Cash and all these people. And so I spent so many years just like really digging deep into, you know, where it all came from and where music, you know, and so I've just spent a lot of years just doing my research and stuff too. So, but yeah, my you know, my music just ranges.
That's awesome. So we're going to go ahead and end the show with your song "Headed for the Fall." But before we do that, I want you to go ahead and plug, because you're getting ready to go overseas. So tell us a little bit about that and where you're going to be going and who you're going to be hooking up with over there.
Oh, I'm so excited about that. So those dates just got announced, all the dates that I'm doing. So I started working with a manager, Donna Zanetti, about, I think we started talking like 9 months ago. I'm not even sure, but it feels like I've known her forever, because we just really meshed so well together. I mean, she's an incredible person. So I met her through a co-writer friend of mine, Randy Barnett. And so he said, hey, you know, I have this friend, Donna Zanetti, who she works with a few artists in the UK, and I just wanted to connect you guys. And so I met her through Skype or Zoom, and we just connected. I mean, she just was like, I listened to your music and oh my gosh, I'm like a fan now, and I want to help you get over here in the UK and, you know, help you grow your fan base here and all that stuff. And so she just started to really like push me over in the UK a ton. And you know, she kind of just believed in me, really. Like she just was setting me up with all these interviews and like really kind of building up my UK activity for the purpose of me going over there and touring. And so when she applied for me to play at Buckles and Boots, I was finally able to, you know, get on that festival, which was super cool. And so now I'm going to be touring with William Michael Morgan on a few dates as well. And so
yeah, and I saw that, and I thought that was pretty cool, because I just got to see him here in Brooksville just a couple of months ago. So that's going to be awesome that you're going to be touring with him.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. I mean, he's such a nice guy. I'm just so excited. I've never been overseas. I've never been to Europe. So like, I'm just really pumped about this, and it's pretty big. So yeah, I'm going to be out there for about 20 days or something like that. So I'm flying in a few days before to get adjusted to the times and all that stuff. But I'm doing about I'm doing about 5 shows while I'm over there. So
Well, that's pretty cool. So, I hope you have a good time over there. Make sure that you're putting everything on social media for us to see. And,
I will. I will.
and speaking about social media, please follow Audra McLaughlin on all the sites. You can find her at audramclaughlin.com is her website. And, Audra, thanks so much for coming on the show. You're a pleasure to have. And, anytime you want to be a guest here on Hank's Corner, you're more than welcome to.
Thank you so much, Hank. I appreciate it. And well, next time you guys are in Nashville, we got to get together.
Nothing ever felt so wrong. They feel so damn right. Love so strong.